Hey friends, welcome to 1 Minute with Monee. Balance doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen one intentional minute at a time. This podcast gives you the tools to make it happen. I'm your host, Monee, your favorite concierge and founder of Time Managed LLC. Join me each week for practical tips and real examples to help you manage your lifestyle with ease. Hello, and welcome to the next edition of 1 Minute with Monee. Today I have Brittany Hendricks. She is a stylist, organizer extraordinaire from Drift Avenue. Welcome. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Happy to have you. I'm so happy to have met you. This is probably one of the first times that I have interviewed someone who's actually done an amazing job with one of my clients. So this interview is from personal experience, but I also want to just let the world know about like what you do, how you do it, and what makes you so excellent. And just personally, publicly, thank you. Thank you for the work that you did for my client because my clients are happy. I'm
Yeah,
happy because it all
it helps.
it all it all really works out. So Drift Avenue is a brand that is about not only personal styling, organizing closets, making the space adapt to who you are as a person, and what you want to stand for. Tell us how you got started with Drift Avenue.
So Drift Avenue started back in 2016. I was leaving corporate America and but even during that time, I was always finding little windows and pockets to sort of, organize for people and style people. I would be the person like organizing my desk area and like coming in like, different outfits every day that I wanted to make it an experience. And through that, I found a clientele and a lot of my clientele, was like, we love your organization skills. Can you do this for me at home? Or can you help me figure out what to wear at work? Or can, lay a capsule collection for me? And I found my calling in that. And next thing I know, I'm at my friends' houses doing the same things. And it grew into something where, okay, I can actually turn my passion and my OCD a little bit, into something that I can monetize and actually help people with.
So you've been in business for about 10 years now. Did you say 2016?
About 2016, yeah.
And so how was that evolution for you? So going from, corporate and doing it sounded like a few side jobs to now growing to this place where you do this full time and you have regular clients. And what was that transformation like?
It was in different phases, right? So I started when I would actually organize closets, and then it turned into, building custom closets, and then it turned into, again, styling and creating these experiences with my clients. And it's just been it has its ups and downs, just navigating business in general, because this is something that's like I consider a trade. Like it's not a talent, it's just something that I've learned to do, and I do it in a way that makes the client feel comfortable and it makes a difference in their day to day. Drift Avenue life and style is about combining those two worlds for anybody. It doesn't matter what line of work you're in. You can be a mother of four, in a home, or you can be a single mom to two in an apartment working as an entrepreneur or as a 9 to 5. And I feel like that scope of clientele encouraged me to like really, grow not only my audience, online, but also grow the experience for people. So I wanted to make sure it was like a holistic look at your day to day in your home and how can we enhance it? How can we take the stress out? How can we make it feel fabulous? So the for me, the evolution of that really grew into something that I was like, I want to call it something. It was gonna be Drift Avenue. We all find our way, drift your way to me, and we'll get things going. Yeah.
Since you do both styling and organizing, was there a gap that you saw in the market to address?
I did. I feel like styling can be so transactional and feel very kind of like, this is what I wear, so I gotta get it on you. This is my style. I need to make it your style. I was always very much so like I want to take what you love, curate it in a way that's functional for you. And when it came to organizing, there's what I've learned about organizing, it creates a cohesiveness in your closet, in your wardrobe, and it really glues everything together. So just making each client feel like seen in their style. And if they need help or they want to change their style, I'll do different suggestions, but just based off of my experience. I worked in fashion for a period and it was very helpful. Every area and industry that I've ever worked in, I've always applied it to this business because whether it's customer service, working through retail, learning how to fold, learning how to, how the psychology of placement, right? So I always wanted to bring that experience. I always say like, I want it to feel like a boutique, I want you to feel like what your eye catches feels cohesive because that's why people overshop. That's why people continue to buy because they're just buying pieces and they're not thinking on the broader scale. Like, I can't make this a part of a capsule, this is just or I can't figure out 5 other ways to wear this. So I also work with my clients in the closet and we pull different looks together. Sometimes you just need that second eye. And I like to think of myself as just like, I'm here to assist you. I'm not here to, totally reinvent your original style because I love original style. I love people who love what they wear and how they wear it. So, yeah, I just like to be that helping hand that comes in and, we might get rid of a few things, but, and we'll talk our way through it. Because that's another part of it is like purging and getting rid of old, getting rid of things that don't have any sentimental value or, that you haven't worn in a couple years. It just sits there and clearing space to make room for something fresh, and something that rejuvenates you in a way.
Yeah, one of the things I learned a while ago from a stylist that I hired is that if you could see it, it makes your experience for putting stuff together a lot easier.
Yes.
So you might not have thought about, this skirt going with this top or this outfit, being transformed from something more formal to a little bit more casual. And you can just throw a denim jacket over it and it's transformed. But if you have that boutique experience in your closet and everything is where it's supposed to be, it like opens up your mind to the possibilities.
Everything has a home.
Everything.
That's my philosophy when I go into these places. Everything has a home. This is when, walking my client through the process, not just taking over and moving things around where you can't find it, because that's the problem in the first place. You couldn't find the skirt. You couldn't find the top. You couldn't find anything. You're back at the store getting the same thing. Or you're talking every morning like I had nothing to wear. I know a lot of people can relate to. I don't know how many. I have a 16-year-old. She is literally. I have nothing to wear all day, every day, and it's trying to teach. Yeah, and it's me too. I'm like, "Ugh, I can't find a thing. But when I get into that mode, I realize I'm not organized in here. I'm like my mind is going there because I can't. Everything's not visible to me, and sometimes it also just takes moving things around, rehoming things, bringing the things you wear more often to the front of your closet, making sure that you do a good rotation, So I often come in seasonally for my clients. So that's another part of my service experience is that, you need me to come back, I'll be back, You wanna come back and swap your winter with summer, because a lot of that clutters, when you keep year-round clothes in your closet. And I can always make space for storage, and I can always make space for, new stuff for you if you wanna have that room to come in, but yeah.
How do you work with your clients? You mentioned a lot of hands-on, working together, and those are really important to someone who may not be used to a space that's organized. So this could be, sometimes a mental and emotional adjustment for people. They may have sentimental value on things that they want to keep. So you have to like sometimes probably hold their hand. What is that experience like, and how do you ease the fears that your clients might have in those instances?
It can be look, the closet can be a scary place, okay? It can be. A lot of times I've noticed clients, look, we have tears, we have a lot of emotions that boil up. A lot of clothing holds a weight, an emotional weight, and it carries a time in your life with you, right? Like you look at a dress and you're like, oh, I remember this night. This was not the best night, or this was the worst date of my life, It's like, get rid of it. But when it comes to sentimental things, I'm very much I respect, sentimental value. It's just when you find sentimental value in Every single thing, even things that like, that are just things that are just taking up space. If I feel like it's kind of weighing you down, let's storage it. Let's put it away. You can revisit it. You can always see the clothes. Let's take a picture of it, Let's memorialize something. But I have such a great time working together with my clients. Like it's a collaborative effort. I'm not coming in, like I said, to take over and ruin everything, all your memories. I'm here to walk you through what's important to you, what can you let go of right now, and that's always the toughest part of my job is going in and having that process because that's the first part of the process is we're purging. We're looking through everything. We're gonna scale and see, look, do you see all these little black dresses we pulled up right here? You got about 50 of. Let's cut it down. You know what I'm saying? You got about 500 pairs of jeans. What do you say we get it down to 100? Like things like that. Because I've noticed like people have like this one thing they'll buy constantly, whether it's shoes or denims or purses or whatever, and it's like, if it's not like a collectible or something that has some resale value or sentimental value, we gotta reevaluate. But it's always nice at the end of that to see like a huge moment of relief, like happy tears, yes, once I see it all come together, because a lot you don't notice what you don't see. So, yeah, I have to present it in a way where you can see what I'm seeing, and then we figure that out.
Now, how do you build trust? Because someone who might have just seen your website, signed up for the consultation, hired you to come in, like, who is this girl coming in and tell me I got to go from 50 black dresses to 10? So, how do you build that trust to know that, you're not going to judge them? Discretion is key. You're here to help. Yeah. What is that relationship building like to build that trust?
Well, if it's not a referral, that's usually like the most important part of my business is the referral process. So if you're referred to, if you've had the Drift Avenue experience and you get a referral, you can feel confident that this person will have the same experience that you had, if not better. And if it's just like a random client off the internet, which I have had, and I just feel like I used who I am to sort of disarm and gain trust because I know how hard it is to let someone into your home, let someone into your personal closet. I'm going through people's underwears here. Okay. I'm going through all the stuff you got in the back corners of your closet. Okay. Like the deepest, darkest parts of the closet, so it's like I feel like I always come with an energy. I'm not here to judge you. I don't, I'm not invested in making you feel badly about anything. You know what I'm saying? I'm very transparent, but I'm also very respectful. Listen, we've all lived life. You know what I'm saying? So I've seen worse things that's probably not in your closet. So you can rest assured that, I'm very, I've always been like a very trustworthy person. I expect trust and I give trust because, that I feel like it becomes like a mutual feeling. I don't want anyone feeling uncomfortable. I always enjoy my time. I love my clients. Like I end up always loving my clients because we have this openness all of a sudden, we break through the wall and it could take a day or two, especially on a larger project. So I'm grateful that, I'm able to communicate with people in the way that I can. We can laugh together, we can make fun of ourselves. We can, really just see we are literally a before and after, yeah, just like the closet. So that's how I kind of look at it. So if things don't go well, I of course, pull out all the stops to just try to make it, again, back to my customer service experience, like the best experience possible. But we definitely cross the lines of like professionalism sometimes because we always end up like having a cocktail or like, going out after or, just really enjoying each other's company. Yeah. My clients become good friends.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Now, you don't only do closets. Our entire lives, we have the kitchen and we have the basements and the closets and now moving. And so, how do you, what other services do you offer? And how do you help that life and style still, that part of your brand still shine through in any place in the home that you are organizing?
Yeah. So I have different levels of service. I have the styling, which is kind of like, basic level, 3 tiers per per area of the home. So I have when I do home organization, everything like you said, from the kitchen to the basement to the garage to the bedrooms, to the living room, like anywhere that needs organization. I pretty much know how to apply all of that to any space.
Okay.
And I like to keep it cute. I like to keep a little set, like a cute bin or like I think little touches make it more fun and more visibly pleasing to the client. I'm a big on labeling everything. Some people want to see everything that they have. Some people want to hide all the extra stuff. So I find ways to accommodate both sorts of clients. But, the kitchen is a big one for sure. We accumulate a lot in the kitchen over the years and the garages, the basements. I love going through and archiving like things that you've collected and just making it easier to find and easier to preserve. So really incorporating that time around the home is also important. So I often segue from being in someone's closet to like, hey, can you do this room too? Can you get the bathroom too? And of course I'm like, absolutely, I love this. I will. But it's like a great time to bond and a great time for them to process like things that they've been holding on to and, let go of a lot more around the home. And it really, I feel like it's almost like a cleanse. Like it's just like a reset. It's a full blown reset and it's totally worth it. So I always recommend like, look, if I'm in your closet, I can get the rest of your house too, but we can go step by step if you want. And we usually do. And a lot of times, like I said, it'll be seasonal, around the home. So,
Are there any common pain points that you see across clients or projects?
yeah, I mean, the main one was the purging. That's a big pain point. But also, I would say getting into different areas of the city, sometimes I'll sort of be not pigeonholed, but like I'll be stuck maybe like just in my area or my just in within my network. I really love to expand beyond. A lot of times I get interest from people out of state and I am always willing to go out of state, but sometimes some of the painful process of going out of state is like, all right, is it worth the expense? Can I get more clients in that area? So just coming up with creative ways to expand the business beyond Atlanta and make the most of it. I think that is what I'm currently learning how to do. And being in there by yourself, I'm in there by myself and I'm doing as much as I can, but I know as business grows, I'm going to probably, have a team, and have people come in and assist and things like that. So all that in mind as, the margins grow, that can be kind of like, oh, no one does it like I do. But I'm like, I can see, yeah, I can train, I can see. So yeah, I've noticed that with a lot of, organization companies. So I was like, that's going to be like my next step for sure.
Okay, well, that's nice. So you talk about people who might be out of town and they want you to travel if you may not be able to, or maybe you have a lot to do and you may not be able to fit that client in, and they're listening now. So what would you tell them is first thing that they should do to start in their, decluttering or organizing?
First thing I always start with is mandatory. Let's have a 1 hour consultation. Show me what you have going on. I'll work with you and we can do virtual. I have virtual services. So
For anybody out of
that works for people out of town. Of course, people are like, well, I don't want to do it.
right. I'd rather
I'd rather you just come and do it, but I'm always like, well, here in the meantime, until I can get to you, here's what we can do. This is a plan I can set up. I can create something for you that's a step by step, order a process, start with getting rid of things, start with, figuring out what you want to donate. Start figuring out what you want your surroundings to look like. What do you want your closet to look like? Your home, but like have that vision so that I can help you step by step see it through from where I'm at until I can get there. Until I could get there. But if I can't get there, I do virtual consultations and I'm also working on an ebook. So that's going to be something that I'm going to be releasing soon. And I think that will help a lot of people get started with their organization needs without me. I don't want you to not need me or anything, but I'm going to give you the sauce. Yeah, I'm going to give you what I do. It's like I said, it's not anything special. It's not a talent. It's literally a practice.
Yeah.
That's it. And once you get in the practice and as far as like, what the experience I give, I don't expect to hear from you soon. So I give it my all and I always say that it's the investment. The investment is worth it because if I do my job right, you won't spend that again for a while.
Right.
And you might not even spend it on more clothes either or more, any clutter, So it's really I would just advise people to just invest in yourself, start doing little by little to clear. And then things start to get clear, and you can strategize that plan to create that environment that you really want. Yeah.
Would you also do virtual styling? So if I was out of town and I don't know what my personal style is, how do you help me get to that point where I can define my personal style and then I can either organize my closet or shop accordingly to what that style is?
Absolutely. So after a consultation and getting an idea of what either you have coming up, what you're looking to wear, a sort of capsule situation, you want to pack light, how can you interchange different looks? I put together a document and it's available on your phone. You just text it. You can, the links are included and you just click and buy, click and buy, click and buy. Now, I'm not responsible for like returns and ship. I don't do all that. I leave it to you. I give you the links and I do all the online shopping for you. And then you tell me after you get the first draft, I like this more. I like this buy more. And then we go further in that direction. So again, a collaborative effort, but ultimately to get, the result that you want and to make it, most importantly, convenient for you.
Right, right. You seem like such a hands-on, high-touch professional. And so that must also mean you have limited time because you have your own life. So tell me more about, limiting the number of clients that you take and why you take that approach.
Well, as like you said, I am high touch. I really want each client to feel like I'm dedicated to their project,
Mhm.
which I am. And it's important to me to one, do a great job because I am only one person and I don't want them to feel the impact of that.
Yeah.
I want to allow them time and us time to get the job done, but in a way that is satisfactory. And again, I love people, like, I'm a real people person, I get energy from being around my clients and new environments, and I even get energy from being around people's clothes, okay? I mean, something about walking in someone else's closet, I'm like, "Oh, this is great." I love just looking at new clothes, you know what I'm saying? Because it's all new to me, so I bring back that excitement about it again. I look at like, "Dang, have you worn this with this?" Have you?" So it is, yeah. For sure, and I love bringing that to the job.
Mhm, awesome. So, what advice would you give other women if they're trying to build these high touch businesses to build that trust? And the reason I ask is because, as a solopreneur, you might have a vision or you might think it requires, like, I need to get as many clients as I can. I need to fill my book so I can work 80 hours a week. But sometimes you can't have both. So, if there's a woman out there listening who does want to start this type of business, what advice would you give?
I would definitely say give yourself some grace, be very realistic about your time because what you promise to people, they expect you to deliver, and that's super important to me, especially in this business of service. It's a service business. And I think being available, I'm always available to my clients. I always say, like, I'm always going to have a window where you can call me, text me, let me know like, "Hey, like, I know you just left a couple weeks ago, but I'm kind of stuck on this, or I'm not sure where this is anymore. I thought I remembered or like, can you give me a refresher?" Like, I think just keeping it to a level of, like you're calling a friend, like you're calling someone who knows you in a different way now. And I think I think, the personal touch on things is super important. I think when you want to start a business like this, it's important to have a vision and be able to execute, but also be able to collaborate because how you want things to go, guess what? Your client may not want those things. How you go into the project, guess what? Things are going to move quickly and everything is not going to go as planned. So I think having, like a tenacity about you and, having the ability to pivot, in order to achieve like a cohesiveness with your client, because that's what it's all about. It's all about change. And that's the hardest part of it, is that this is something that is going to create a drastic change. And you have to be prepared for the mental load of that, the physical load, because my back is, come on now. I just was lifting stuff. Okay. Like I said, okay, now this is a physical labor job, so be prepared for that. I always say it's my gym. I'm always like, this is my gym. Like today's gym day. Then I got to remember, use your legs. Don't live with your back. Use your form. Hello. So it's always that there's so many benefits to a job like this, but it takes a lot out of you and you have to learn that. And that's another reason why I can't pack up with clients every month, is because I have to take care of myself too. So self-care is an important part of that as well. And I always encourage people who want to go into this line of work, just stay on top of the client, stay on top of, stay focused, because we can drift into conversations, right? No pun intended. We can drift into those conversations. We can get distracted. And with a lot of my clients, I know how to like talk and do, because you're providing both services. So that's definitely something that's super important.
Yeah, you're an expert.
An expert. Listen, I multitask. You had to think two brains.
What's next for Drift Avenue?
Drift Avenue, like I said, I want to have more options available for people to support me, even if you're not ready for the investment. I definitely want to get that ebook going, and I want to help as many people as I can, just as far as like staying organized. And I want to basically grow my company into a space where it's like, who knows, HGTV level, like I always like to shoot for the stars. I don't know. I'm always like, that's possible. Anything is possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that I definitely want to take Drift Avenue to higher levels. And I just want to meet more amazing people. All of my clients are so unique and so amazing in their own ways and so accomplished. And, you know, it's always a great networking experience too. So I definitely feel like the growth is there for me. The growth is there for the company. And ultimately, I want to be more hands-on, more active on social media and bring tips, to people virtually. And I'm sure there's a pocket for that online, as far as monetizations. Maybe I get in less closets physically and start just teaching online. But yeah, those are all in the wheelhouse. And yeah, I want to definitely take Drift Avenue into a space of more exposure, and I want to learn more and do more. Yeah.
Well, that sounds like awesome goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how can we find you, and what is that process for getting in touch so we can have you come and help her?
Yes. So you can always find me at www.driftavenue.com, and all my services are on there. There's a questionnaire on there if you're not sure what services you might need. There's something to guide you and help you figure that out. Also, you can follow me at Drift Avenue Life and Style on Instagram, and I have Drift Avenue on TikTok as well. Yeah.
I look forward to continuing.
And LinkedIn for you professionals.
I look forward to staying in touch and using you for more clients. I may have to have you come over here and tackle my closet. And so this has been a great conversation. I appreciate your help, your time, your energy.
Having me.
You're welcome.
I always love coming here.
You're welcome anytime, anytime, anytime. Yep. Well, until next time, be well and be balanced. Thank you for joining me this week. Let's continue the conversation on social media at 1 Minute with Monee on all channels. Also, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. Until next time, be well and be balanced. Thank you for joining me this week. Let's continue the conversation on social media at 1 Minute with Monee on all channels. Also, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. Until next time, be well